Good morning. It's Vic Murray from the United Budgerigar Club here again. This morning I thought I'd talk to you about things to consider when building an aviary and bird room. There is a lot to think about, and if you do a bit of planning to start with, then the end result will work out really good. And I'll start off with a few little simple things that we need to consider. And there's different kinds of aviaries. You can work prefabricated and put together, or you can build your own. In my case, I've got both. One of the first considerations is which way to face the aviary. You should try, where possible, to face the aviary to the east or the north or the northeast. That way you don't get the hot afternoon sun building into the aviary, and also in Melbourne, most of our bad weather comes from the southwest, so you don't get that southwesterly weather in the aviary, and you get the morning sun for the birds, which they really love. And the two types of aviaries are, as I said, prefabricated, where you can build your own. This is just built out of square tube, welded together, and then wire mesh. One of the things that's important with these type of aviaries is to keep them mouse proof. In this case, I've got a concrete slab underneath. There's about a 200mm metal section right along the bottom, so the mice can't get up in. And another consideration with when you buy one of these type of aviaries is whether you just have the door going straight into the aviary, or in this case you have an airlock, so that you can open the door, have your feed and storage in there, and then the door through to the aviary. That way there's less chance of birds getting out. To help protect that type of aviary from the weather, I've actually got some shade cloth down between the back of the aviary onto the ground with an air gap between, so that in the afternoon sun doesn't hit straight onto the metal and make it too hot in the summer. My main aviary and bird room is constructed on a concrete slab with colorbond sheeting on the outside and the roof. It's built out of metal studs, similar to what they build partitions in office buildings, and then it's lined on the inside with cement sheet, but it's got fiberglass, 2-inch bats in all the walls and the roof to help insulate it. It generally keeps inside about 5 degrees warmer in winter and 5 degrees cooler in summer than the outside temperature. And to get the birds out in the fresh air, I've got some what we call lofts sticking out the front so the birds can fly out, and they sit out there and get in the rain and the sun. In the summer, I've got a sprinkler. You can just see on the top of the roof there, there's a sprinkler that I can turn on and spray, and that water goes out over the lofts, and then it runs down the roof, and on a really hot day helps keep the bird room cooler. I've got a night light on the outside with a sensor on it, so if any cats come around, that light will come on and disturb the cats. The wire on the aviary and the bird room, I've just used a small 12mm square wire. Now the two things, it's double wired, I don't think you quite see that, but there's one lot of wire on the outside, another on the inside. Now, as you can see from the photos, I've got a lot of native bush around where I live, and I've got butcher birds and owls and kookaburras and currawongs, so it protects the birds. They can't, sometimes your budgies will sleep hanging on the wire at night, and when they do that, that's when they're susceptible to getting killed by anything native, including cats and rats. Now, one of the most important things to do is keep your bird room and your aviary mouse proof. So when you build it, I'll show you the bottom of the door. Where the door comes down at the bottom, it's actually over the concrete. So there's a lip on the bottom of the door. So when the door closes, That lip goes down against the concrete and the mice can't get in. Very important. This aviary's been up for about 10 years and I've only ever had one mouse in here, and he came in a bag of seed, I think. There's no other way to get in. In the bird room, some of the things that you need to think about, I've got lighting, which is on a time clock, simple time clock on the wall, and I set, usually I work it with daylight saving. It comes on at the moment 7 o'clock in the morning, off at 7 o'clock at night. If you can, it's a good idea, have a sink, running water for washing, giving the birds fresh food. I also have a radio going. The birds like having it. It sounds silly, but they like activity, they like people in the bird room, and they like music. And the minute the radio comes on at the same time as the time clock, the lights. I have night lights for night time. I have one up in the ceiling on the roof here on a power point, and excuse me, another one on the wall in a power point here. So there's a couple of those in the bird room at night. So if the birds get a fright at night, they can find their way back to the perch. Now I've built my bird room and aviary as one building, and it's simple to walk through from the bird room into the aviary. So there's 3 flights, about 3.5 metres long, just 1.2 metres wide, and you can see lined with cement sheet. I have concrete floors. The front part where the rain can get in is sloped to the middle, and there is a drain point in the middle underneath, which goes out like a shower, the bottom of a shower. But if you do that, make sure you use a metal grate, not a plastic one, because I know someone that had an aviary with a plastic one, and the rats ate through it and got into his aviary. I then have washed sand on the floor, which is easy to rake and clean up, clean out once a week, and clean the aviaries out. So there is my flights. There's 1, 2, and I couldn't quite get 4 flights in with the same way this aviary. This one's a double, so I go through this door, and then there's 2 flights running the other way with a door between them. I can open that door and leave it open, or I can close it and separate, so I end up with 4 flights. My seed bin, I've got a seed bin underneath. Open that up, and in the seed bin I've got the normal budgie seed, and then tonic, hulled oats and sunflower. And I keep sawdust, spare sawdust in there as well, because that's what I put in the bottom of the breeding cages. I have a skylight in this end of the bird room, because of just that corner's a little bit dark, and I have a roof vent over here which I've got a whirlybird on the top, which helps get some ventilation through. Then your breeding cages, which I'll do a separate video tomorrow about that, talk about that, and what you have in my bird room. But lots of things to think about. Your height of your cages. I've got my show cages stacked in underneath. They do get a little bit dusty and dirty, but as far as storage, it makes it easy. I hope that's all been helpful for everybody. Talk soon. Bye.